I'm Lawrence.
I'm Nick.
Welcome to the Nick and Lawrence Show.
We're glad you're here.
Welcome to 2019, and we'll be talking about some fun things after the break.
So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to 2019, our first episode of the new year. If you follow the Chinese calendar, it's the year of the pig. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
There you go. So, if not, happy 2019. And so we're excited to start the new year off with a topic that actually will flow over from last year.
Right.
And we actually, it was like one of our first episodes, maybe our second or third episode, we had talked about Mary Poppins.
Yeah, our second episode we were talking about Mary Poppins Returns, which seems like long ago.
It does seem like a long time ago. But we both saw it, and we wanted to spend some time actually just giving you our review on it, I guess.
Yeah. I think the trailer was really cool, and if you haven't seen the trailer, check out the trailer, and we'll give you our review, and so we don't put too much spoiler alert for you guys that haven't seen it.
Yeah, we'll try not to spoil it too much.
But like all movies, eventually there will be spoiler alerts.
Yeah. Well, as time goes by, if you hadn't seen it by then we can't help you with that. Right. So we want to talk about it, and we both saw it over the holiday break, and well, I'll just let you. We haven't talked about it with each other, so we kind of want to be a surprise to each other. So I'll let you start, Lawrence. So what did you think about the new Mary Poppins Returns?
I really liked it. It was really good. It was fun to see new actors do the movie, but at the same time know that there were some Disney cast and crew that kind of helped this sequel out, so that was a real cool plus. It was really cool to know that Dick Van Dyke got a really good 2-minute segment. That was fun to see that. I liked Angela Lansbury's spot in the movie.
Oh yeah.
She was in the movie, and then and then the Jane, the adult who played Jane in the original Mary Poppins was in the movie for a cameo.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
I guess I couldn't really tell which one she was because she's all grown up now.
Right. I think there's a particular scene in that movie that...
I'm trying to think about it because I picture her as a kid.
She had a fairly lengthy, maybe about a 40-second
really
clip segment. I think she was talking to somebody or just in passing. So
that's cool. I'll have to go back and check that out.
Yeah. I felt like a lot of the movie was fairly similar to the first movie, and it was all based off of P.O. Travers' books that Walt Disney was not allowing her to make into movies. So, but that also goes back to Saving Mr. Banks to figure out that whole story.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the movie was a really good movie.
Yeah, I liked it. When we talked about the original Mary Poppins in our supercalifragilisticexpialidocious episode, we showed a little trailer of the Mary Poppins Returns, and we were excited about it. But I saw it actually on Christmas Day.
And I saw Christmas Eve.
Oh, you did? Yeah. All right, you beat me.
By a day.
By a day. So I pretty much have the same impression as Lawrence, I think. I was trying not to expect too much because the first one was so huge. It was iconic, and it won all those awards, and it was really a movie for the time that it came out. Yeah. It was very special and revolutionary because of the way mostly because Walt directed it. Like he had his hand in it. It was pretty much his movie. It was his passion. And if you see Saving Mr. Banks, you know that story. But I think Walt's touch in the original movie made it so special. This one, I enjoyed the way they did it. The new actors, Emily Blunt did a really good job. And the songs were fun. but I will say it's not. It wasn't the original, and I don't think it ever could be.
I don't.
You have to go into it expecting it to be a sequel and a remake 30 years in the future, pretty much. But yeah, no, I the one thing I will say about it, and not to give too much away, is that it was lacking the spoonful of sugar.
Oh.
Not the song itself, but the thought. So it just didn't have the magic that the original one had, in my opinion.
Well, I went and did. I waited enough time till after the movie, and I hope you guys will do the same. But like I said, if you don't want any spoiler alerts, press pause or come back to it in about a month or so. But I will say, I was reading something, and if you notice in the credits, the collaborator is Richard Sherman, who was on the original Mary Poppins. I read an article after the movie was done saying if there was any tweaking to do with the movie, I could have, but the guy who wrote all the songs wanted it to be the same. And the guy actually asked, or is there anything I need to change? Do I need to go back to the original movie? And he says, no, everything's fine and perfect.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, I think everybody that was involved in the original one, they wanted to respect the new one because it wasn't the same. I think it wasn't supposed to be the same. It was nice that they had all those people collaborate on it, but I know for a fact, I actually read up on it, Julie Andrews in the original Mary Poppins actually didn't want anything to do with this movie, and not because she was mad or anything, but out of respect, she wanted a new life to be like birthed out of it. She wanted a new life to be given to the movie without it riding on the coattails of the original Mary Poppins. And so she wanted Emily Blunt to take it on, and she didn't want any cameos in the movie because she didn't want to steal away from the story, because she's pretty much what made the movie iconic in the 60s. So she stayed away on purpose out of respect, and I think a lot of the other people who had collaborated on it probably did the same thing because they didn't want it to be like the original. And I think you can't, I mean, to be honest, you can't, you really can't compete with the Sherman Brothers for their their songwriting abilities, because they just, not only Mary Poppins, but all the other songs that they've written for other Disney movies.
I think it would have been, I mean, I know for the Sherman Brothers, they would have liked to, if Walt had been alive, there was plans for a sequel at some point. It just, I think they had to, well, number one, it was all P.L. Travers who, stopped them from making another movie, and it took a real long time. And it almost makes me wonder what made them decide now to, do a new...
Yeah.
Do new... I mean, I like that they accredited, I guess she has an estate in London, so that made it nice that they were crediting it to it, even though she didn't have any family. And I'm sure that after 15 or 20 years, after you've been gone for a long time, it probably doesn't, matter.
Well, I'm sure that they went through all the proper channels and made sure that the estate wanted, them to make another movie.
Right.
But yeah, it was nice that they had the same, as I'm thinking back about it, they had the same set, kind of.
It was all in London. It was
the same storyline. They had great actors. They had fun songs and dancing.
Definitely the cartoons. The thing I did like that I was waiting for were penguins. And there were penguins.
Yes. I think my favorite part actually was the last scene. And hit pause if you don't want to hear a spoiler, but my favorite part was in the end when they're in the park.
Oh, yeah.
With the balloons.
Right.
And so Angela Lansbury, that's her cameo where she's the balloon lady.
The balloon lady.
And everybody gets a balloon, and they're singing this really fun song as they all float away with the balloons. And then at the end, they float back down to their house on Cherry Tree Lane.
Right.
But that was probably the most fun part that I enjoyed in the movie.
Right.
Overall, that was fun. I liked Meryl Streep's character,
right?
And that whole scene was pretty fun.
I mean, and as you, I'm sure as we go back. I mean, I definitely would go for second or third time. But when I saw it for the first time, I said, "Oh, here are all these little, niches to the first one." I mean, they didn't have an Uncle Albert, but it was kind of cool to to be able to say, okay, here's this person whose world is totally upside down, which is the very similar thing to I Love to Laugh. I mean, little tie-ins throughout the movie, which made it what Mary Poppins was and what Walt Disney would have wanted to do. He wouldn't have gone. I still believe that Walt Disney would never have gone back and revisited this. He would have found new songs and new ways. And people have always said through Disney, there will never be the same. You know, he never did a sequel to Snow White, or he never did a sequel to Pinocchio. Every movie in the early years were, their own movie, and not one is the same from the other. But even this one, has little tie-ins to the first movie with a 60-year time period spread apart from the two movies.
Yeah. If you look back at Disney's movies, like Walt Disney's collection of movies over the years, there aren't really very many sequels.
I think the only two movies, and Walt really wanted to, because he wanted to take on the wishes of P.L. Travers, was he went back through Song of the South, which was a live-action animation movie. So Mary Poppins is the second movie of that kind, and of course, about 20 years at least, 46, about 20 years spread apart. So he went back 20 years later, because he really wanted to. His original intention for the Mary Poppins movies was to do what he did with Snow White and Pinocchio, which was to make it an animated film, but to keep in the wishes, he snuck in those little animation. Now today we can actually have more animation in that movie with it still being a live action movie, and I thought that it was nice that the kite was there and little things like that.
Yeah, the tie-ins were nice. It's definitely a movie for a new generation,
right? Because
the original Mary Poppins was for our parents, for the generation a couple generations ago,
right?
When they were kids, or it's nice to see that those books are still being enjoyed,
right?
And the story of Mary Poppins is still being enjoyed by the younger generation, and I think this was a good way to, if they, hint, we'll make another couple of these Mary Poppins movies.
I think there was only 8 books in the series, so this one was the tie of 7 and 8. So I don't think there will be another.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there might. You never know with Disney nowadays. They might make another one, they might not. But
they would probably extend whatever was left of her original books and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the first one was based off of her first 3, and then of course she never wrote anything during that time period that it was being made, and now they're making it off of, I think 6, 7, and 8 is what I heard or read.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be new material.
New material.
But they might be setting it up to create another one, but maybe not. Out of respect for Mary Poppins and Walt Disney,
right?
And P.L. Travers' estate, they might just leave it at this. I think it was fun. Emily Blunt did a good job.
Yep. She did a good job as the baker's wife in Into the Woods. So she did a good job as.
Yeah, she's a good actress. So I definitely recommend the movie. I think Lawrence recommends it.
Yep.
And if you read some reviews on it that don't paint it in a good picture, because I actually read one that said something like Mary Poppins shouldn't have returned. Just go see it for yourself.
Yep.
It's fun, it's enjoyable, and it's a new take on an old story for a younger generation, I think.
Yep.
And it felt a little forced at times. I actually felt like they had too many songs and too much dancing.
Well, I think they had the same thing in the first one.
It was different.
But yeah, I mean, you have to be able to appreciate a musical.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed the musical aspect of it. I think that sometimes the songs just didn't fit with the scenes. Right. So that's where it kind of felt forced. But the songs are fun. They're catchy. There's nothing memorable like Supercalifragilistic.
Right.
Or, you can't really compare to the original score because all the songs were good.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen the original Mary Poppins in a while, go watch it. Definitely check out this new one if you haven't seen it. I encourage you to listen to the soundtrack of both of them and just combine them. Don't compare them with each other.
Right.
Just add this one to the original as I guess it's a sequel, but it's future. It's all grown up kind of sequel.
Yeah. think I'll leave it at supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah, so that's a mouthful, but hopefully you won't take us as sounding too precocious.
Or chimney sweeper.
Yeah, and just take us with a spoonful of sugar. But so that's pretty much it. That's our thoughts on the Mary Poppins Returns, and we're out of time right now. But we'll see you next week, and until then, I'm Nick.
I'm Lawrence.
And see you soon.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.